Alongside the vibrant Halaf and ingenious Ubaid cultures, the Samarra culture transformed Mesopotamia in its own remarkable way. It represents one of the key Neolithic societies that contributed to the rise of civilization in Mesopotamia. Emerging after the Hassuna culture and roughly contemporary with it, Samarra developed further south, in the Middle Tigris region. While the two cultures overlapped somewhat in central Mesopotamia, Samarra is notable for pushing settlement and farming into drier zones beyond the reach of reliable rainfall. Many Samarra communities were established in areas where natural rainfall alone could not sustain agriculture. These challenges spurred the invention and use of basic irrigation techniques, marking some of the earliest evidence for managed water systems in the region. People channeled seasonal floods, dug canals along contour lines, and drained fields to grow crops successfully where the land was otherwise too arid. This knowledge and practice of irrigation spread southward, carried by migrants and perhaps also adopted by local foragers who began to embrace farming. Irrigated farming enabled the cultivation of crops that could not have thrived otherwise. These innovations deepened people's ties to the land, increased food production, and led to more permanent settlements. However, these developments also made villages more vulnerable to raids, creating a need for defensive measures. The economy of Samarra communities rested primarily on cultivating wheat and barley. They raised domestic animals including sheep, goats, pigs, and cattle, and supplemented their diet with fish, shellfish, hunted game, and gathered wild plants. While farming was becoming central, hunting and gathering still played an important role. Coordinating irrigation, cultivation, and village life demanded communal cooperation and some mechanisms for resolving disputes, though the evidence suggests these could still operate in relatively small, egalitarian groups without strong centralized authority. Samarra pottery was produced using a turnet, a primitive slow-turning wheel, and shows signs of specialization, implying that some individuals devoted themselves to crafts rather than agriculture. Female figurines from this period are particularly elaborate, often decorated with tattoos or face paint, pointing to a sophisticated artistic tradition. The largest Samarra sites, such as the town of Samarra itself, extended up to 6 hectares and may have supported around 1,000 inhabitants, about twice as many as the largest Hassuna villages. Samarra houses were built of mud brick in a distinctive T-shaped layout, which may have been influenced by Hassuna designs. Buildings featured multiple rooms, external buttresses and support walls and roofs, and were arranged around open courtyards containing ovens, kilns, and granaries. Evidence from Samarra sites indicates increasing economic complexity. Stamp seals, artisans' marks on pottery, and other identifying symbols suggest both craft specialization and exchange. Such markings probably helped keep track of ownership and production, especially when sheared kilns and larger-scale trade were involved. While copper artifacts found at Samarra sites were rare, they hint at long-distance trade networks, likely exchanging pottery and surplus crops for copper and other goods. South of Samarra lies Tel Es-Sawan, a significant settlement comparable in population to Jericho at the same time. Its houses were fairly uniform, suggesting little social inequality, though the site also featured larger multi-room buildings, possibly early temples indicating organized communal activities or religious rituals. The settlement was surrounded by a defensive ditch, and many baked clay balls found there may have served as sling projectiles, reflecting a fear of raids. Tel Es-Sawan yielded at least 128 burials, most of which included grave goods such as figurines, bowls, jewelry, and ceramics. The high proportion of children's burials reflects typical pre-industrial mortality rates. Although most burials were modest, one adult male's grave, located alone in a special room with numerous possessions, suggests the presence of a local leader. By around 5900 BC, a wall was constructed inside the ditch, featuring an L-shaped entrance designed to expose attackers to defensive fire, evidence of increasing concern over protecting food supplies and property. At the southern edge of Samarra's cultural sphere stood Chokamami, another large walled settlement with up to 1,000 residents. The site shows the earliest known evidence of systematic irrigation, including abandoned canals and fields of irrigated crops like six-row barley, bread wheat, and large seeded flax. Its fortifications, including an L-shaped entrance and defensive tower, echo those of Tel Es-Sawan, underscoring the importance of communal defense and planning. The late Samarra culture overlapped with the early Halaf culture in northern Mesopotamia, and the two styles sometimes appear together at sites, possibly reflecting either distinct ethnic groups or simply regional variations in taste. Samarra's advances in irrigation, craft specialization, and village organization set the stage for the more complex societies that followed. Alongside the Halaf and Ubaid, the Samarra culture paved the way for Mesopotamia's transformation, proving that even in the Neolithic age, humanity was already shaping its destiny with water and ingenuity. If you enjoyed this journey into the origins of irrigation and civilization, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories from the ancient world. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next episode.